everybody, we're back now to finish off our little heart. So this is the third part in the tutorials for making these cute little hearts, which is the Love You Forever pattern. We've got to the point of finishing the left hand top, and before we kitchener the top, you can do this two different ways actually. I was thinking about the stuffing. The pattern isn't entirely clear and at what point you stuff it and how you stuff it. And at first I thought, let's just kitchener that top and stuff it through the little gap that we still have here. And you can see I can get my finger in that gap, so you could stuff it easily through there. But what I'm thinking is, whilst we've got an open top here, before we kitchener, let's pop some stuffing in just to make our job a bit easier. So I've cut my yarn, ready to do the kitchener, and I'm just going to zip that over onto the cable like that. I'm going to stuff through this gap here and get the bulk of the stuffing in, and then we will kitchener and finish stuffing just through that gap. What I do to stuff, if you've never stuffed anything before, you know, if you've made toys, then this will be an easy thing for you. Sometimes with stuffing, if you've never done it before, you might have a tendency just to grab a whole bunch like this, ball it up and then just stuff it in. But if you do that, you're going to have like areas which are very hard and compacted, and then you might have little gaps of air where it's not got stuffing. So what I always do, and I do this for all my toys as well, is I just take little bits, and if you pull it to kind of loosen it all up, and then put it in bit by bit. This does take longer, but you will get a much better finish. So little bits, pull it apart and then stuff it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this top right hand portion first, because I do think it's the finishing with things, you know, that makes the difference between something that looks, you know, very professionally made and something that might look a bit more, I don't want to say homemade, because we are, you know, everything we do is homemade, but you know what I mean, just to get that more professional finish. So I'm just going around that corner and stuffing that top really nicely, and it's up to you really how firm you stuff it. I like to get a little bit in there, as long as you're not overstuffing it and stretching the stitches, then I think you're good really. So I'm just going to work my way down that edge, and I like the fibre this is the fabric, sorry, that this is produced on this size of needle. It looks really nice, and you can't see any of the stuffing through as I'm stuffing it. So I just like to check the squishiness of the stuffing. You probably think I'm being completely pedantic, but you know, I do like to get things just right. I'm just going to remove that clippy marker now actually, so we don't need it. So now I've worked down that side, I'm going to get some into the point, because that's a place where you might miss getting some right down to the bottom. And I kind of, you can see I kind of just push it in a bit, because I do just like to make sure it's as perfect really as it can be. And I'm checking to see if it's the same kind of squishiness all the way down. And now I'm going to put a bit in on this side along the edge. These are so fun to make, and this has taken me, I mean, we've been filming this obviously, but I would say you could make one of these in an hour and a half with the stuffing. So it's a brilliant little thing to make as gifts, you know, and really satisfying to have something so cute and finished in such a short amount of time.
And if you combined 4 of these with maybe 4 of the decorations that you made last year, that would be 6 lovely varied baubles for your Christmas tree.
Yeah, and I think you know, you could make 4 of these and wrap them up in lovely tissue paper and, you know, give them as gifts to people for their Christmas tree. And I would love that, you know, and I think anybody who's a bit crafty would love it as well. So you can see now we're almost, oh, isn't it cute? Oh, it's so cute. We're almost done, but I'm not going to stuff the very top here because that makes the kitchener difficult. So let's just leave, can you see I've got a nice gap. Pop your needles back on. You could stick these stitches on DPNs actually now, and that might make it a bit less fiddly, you know, rather than having your cable flopping around. But we got there. So I'm just going to kitchener these now, as we did before. That's that top. I'm just pulling that tight. So now, before we weave those ends in, I'm gonna just get a bit more stuff in through that hole and just stuff that left hand side that we couldn't get to. So I tend to use my little finger, you know, because it's the smallest finger. If you prefer, I mean, you could use like a chopstick if you find that easier. I know some people use like the blunt end of a chopstick, but I find my little finger is quite small, so I just use that, you know, to get through that gap, and it's perfectly fine to do. And you could stuff the whole thing through this hole, you really could, you know, if you didn't want to go to the bother of doing what I just did then, you could easily stuff the whole thing through that hole. So I just want to make sure that I've got plenty of stuff in. And you could, oh, I wish I'd done this now, you could actually put in there a little sachet of lavender, couldn't you? Or something, you know, a more festive sort of scent, festive potpourri or something, into just a little muslin bag and pop that inside. Oh, I wish I'd done that now. But, you know, we can make more of these, can't we? Some people I know are sensitive to lavender, so it's up to you whether you would want to do that. But okay, so I'm just seeing how that feels, and I think that, oh, I think it's lovely. Okay, I think that's about right. I'm not going to overstuff it in the middle there, because once we've kitchenered it, that will pull in nicely and help it give a really nice heart shape. So all we need to do now is weave in those ends, and then we'll seam the top. So to weave in your top two ends, really all you need to do is push it. I tend to, and this is what I do, you know, if you want to hide an end, because that's secure. So all you want to do is get rid of that end. So when I've got a stuffed piece, I tend to stuff the end all the way through, and that will hold it inside with the stuffing. So I go all the way through, right to the bottom and out, and then give that a nice pull. Oh, and it really has tightened up that top. Pull your yarn through, and then just, if you snip just a little distance away like that, and then just give it a pull, it pops inside. And then we'll do the same with the other side. So push it through your fabric all the way through that stuffing right to the bottom. Don't worry about over pulling it. If you happen to over pull it, can you see what's happened? Just pull it back out and it's fine. And then again, snip just a little distance away, pull your heart, and it just pops inside. And then the same with the bottom one. So through, right at the very bottom, through to sort of the top area. And then pull that back out and do the same thing. Snip. pop it inside. So now all we need to do is just close that gap. Oh, isn't it lovely? Sorry to be tooting my own horn, but I'm not really. It's, you know, it's not my pattern. So to close the gap, all we're going to do is just kind of over sew that area there. We want to try and make it as neat as possible. And what I'll probably do is kind of do a little mattress sort of seaming. So I'm going to go through that stitch there, across to the other side to that one there, and pull over to that side and that side. I'm just kind of making this up really. All you want to do is just close that nicely. And you see it's closed it up lovely. Let's do a last one there. That's nice and neat, and then I would just probably over sew just to secure it before we weave it through. I'll go back over there and then down and out like we did before. And then snip, push in, there we go. Isn't it lovely? So if you were making these as, you know, little things to pop into your sock drawer, you know, with smelly in, like I said, then that's it, we're done. I'm going to add just a little hanging loop. Now you could crochet a chain to do that and do a crocheted hanging loop. What I've done previously is I just use the yarn, to be honest. I just like the simplicity of it. I'll just cut a length and then thread it onto my needle, and then you just want to attach it in that centre point. So I just go through a couple of stitches and then pull that out, and then just work out how long you want your hanging loop to be. So say you want it to be about here, I will then just tie the two ends in a knot. Okay, that's lovely and secure. Trim that and then work that knot through to the inside there, and then you can't see it. I tend to do that for all of my hearts, and then if you just use your needle just to shove the knot down into the shove. That's terrible, I can't believe I said shove on a tutorial. I'm really sorry, that's my Yorkshire coming out. Oh, that's shocking, isn't it? Just shove that end. Dan's laughing his head off. Okay, we push the end where the knot is down into your stuffing, and there we are, finished. And I just love the simplicity of just that piece of yarn. I think that's really sweet. And nothing, you know, we double knot, we did a really nice knot, so that's not going to go anywhere. So there we go. Oh, I'm so thrilled. Are you thrilled with that? Are you going to knit about 50 of them now? Oh, I think I will. I really love that, and it'd be very pretty in variegated yarns as well. So there we go. So that's the lovely Love You Forever heart. Oh, I might give it to Bryony after school. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing it. I think it was great fun. So we could knit, like I say, knit a bunch of them for your Christmas tree, give away as presents. I'm definitely going to knit some more. So I will see you for the next series of tutorials, which, like Dan said, is a very exciting and quite challenging series. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and I will see you soon. Take care.